Now, one thing that I do want to make sure is clear is it's not just another virtual assistant agency. We're actually an executive assistant agency, a remote executive assistant agency, or we call it a REA. Hi there and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Now, my goal is at the end of this video is to be able to answer the common questions that I get as a virtual assistant agency owner. Now, if this is your first time on my channel, my name is Lacaba. I have been working from home since I was 15 years old and now run my own agency 2XU here in Cebu, Philippines. And I post videos every Sunday on how to work from home and every Thursday on how to have an online business. So make sure to hit the subscribe button right there so you don't miss any of my videos. Now, this is a video where a lot of people have asked me different questions, especially as I've been doing more and more virtual assistant videos of how do I actually run an agency, what does an agency do? So this is where I'm going to give you guys the lowdown of basically what it looks like to go from someone who was just a freelancer to now actually running my own business online. Now, one of the first and of course most basic questions that I do get asked is, how did you actually get started with your agency? Now, if you guys haven't actually seen any of my videos, just as a quick overview, 2XU Executive Services is my agency, and I started it way back in 2019, so 2 years now. And how we actually got started is we started out as a course. We were teaching a lot of entrepreneurs how to hire virtual assistants online. We kind of had this 3 to 4 hour course. It had like workbooks, it had like templates, and that's basically how I actually got started with doing videos as well. It was actually one of the first videos I filmed was me in the course, so it's a lot about me being a little bit awkward. And then we were actually touring around Asia. We went to Manila, we went to Malaysia, we went to Singapore and taught this stuff, and that's actually how we met our first client. So that answers the second question I usually get, which is, how did you get your first client? Now, the first client that we ever got was someone who was in the audience in the Singapore workshop that we were doing, and he basically approached me on LinkedIn about a month later and said, hey, loved your guys' content, can you just do this for me? So at that point, I was already toying around the idea of creating a service agency, because at that point, I just basically handed over the publishing company that I was running for the last 3 years, and I was just looking to do something new. Someone else was already running it. I was able to, remove myself from the company because someone awesome was going through the whole process of learning to just be able to do what I've been doing the last couple of years. So like I said, I was already toying around with the idea. I just didn't know if I wanted to go like full social media marketing agency, because that was a big hype at that time, or if I wanted to do something different. And because of the course, it kind of became an easy thing to decide of like, oh yeah, we can just offer assistance to people. And that's kind of really how we got that first client, is they were the ones to approach us. There was no marketing, there's no mention that we were even doing this service just yet. Like I said, at that time, I was still toying around with ideas, so it was really cool to kind of get that person without even trying. Now, the next common question that I usually get is, what do we actually do as an assistant agency? Now, one thing that I do want to make sure is clear is it's not just another virtual assistant agency. We're actually an executive assistant agency, a remote executive assistant agency, or we call it a REA. So what we actually specialize in is hiring, managing, and growing executive assistants for a lot of solopreneurs or founders, basically smaller business owners who just don't want to do this all by themselves anymore. So what that means is we go through the process of recruitment, basically finding the assistant for the client. It involves asking the client a bunch of questions on who is their ideal assistant, who are they looking for, the personality, the skills, most importantly. And then we go through the process of actually hiring, where we put on a job ad. I create like a custom test, skills test, basically to see where their skills are at. And then I interview, and then we do a final interview with the client. So that's the recruitment, the hiring side. The management side is really supporting the assistant in whatever it is that they need. So like admin support, being able to provide them like the usual Filipino contributions, because we're an actual Filipino company. And then the growing part is we're basically the training them on the skills, how to be a leader, how to be a business owner. So then it's going to be easier for them. Like we give them the coaching that they need so they can serve the client in the best way possible. So it's really like a full service. That's what we do. Of course, it's going to be more than that, but that's kind of just the Cliff Notes version of what it is that we do. Another common question that I get asked a lot is, what's the most difficult part about running an agency? What's the most difficult part about all of this? And honestly, the most difficult part is when you don't have the right people. Now, one of the lessons that I've learned really in the last 7 years of being an entrepreneur is you need to surround yourself with the right people, or else things are never going to be easy. So that was one of the things that I had to really keep in mind, is a person could look amazing on paper, but then when I actually talk with them, they actually don't match. So that's one of the most difficult things that I had to always keep learning, is to keep in mind that just because they blew it out of the water when it came to their test, but their personality doesn't make sense for them to be in the company, that I have to learn how to say no. I have to learn like, no, it's going to be difficult later on in the long run if I keep working with you. So that's one of the most difficult things, is keeping in mind that I have to be surrounded with the right people. Next is another very common question that I get is, are you hiring? Right now, yes, we actually have a couple of positions that are available. You guys can go to 2xu.com/hiring for those positions. But usually every month we do have a position that is available. That usually is because we just got a new client, or a current client added a new assistant into the mix. They wanted another assistant on top of their current assistant. That's kind of a very common thing that I've seen, is once clients love you, once they like you at least, they will keep wanting to work with you or refer people. So then, like for example, for a lot of our clients, whenever a friend asks them like, hey, I'm looking to hire an assistant myself, where did you get yours? Of course, they're going to say yes. So on the hiring part, yes, we are right now. We're probably going to be hiring every month. So just check out 2xu.com/hiring. You guys can check out the positions that we have available. Next question is, do you have a physical office? So this is kind of a weird question to answer, mostly because yes, we do have a physical office, because when we registered as a Philippine corporation, we needed to get an office. However, since the pandemic started, and since 2XU started in 2019, late 2019, we've never actually really used our office before. And even before then, I was mostly working remote. Then I didn't really ask the assistants to come in. So everyone's been working from home all this time. So yes, we do have a physical office, but everyone works from home. We have meetups once a month where we get to rent out basically a co-working space, and we get to work together. But other than that, we just all work from home. Next common question that I usually get is, who do you work with, or who are your ideal clients? What's your niche? There's a lot of different ways that people have asked me this, but it's basically mostly been service-based entrepreneurs, like people who give some sort of service. So consultants, coaches, people who own their own service agency as well. So these are the type of people that we found are perfect for needing an assistant, because they need someone to run the admin stuff, the background stuff for them, so they can show up in their business in the best ways. Especially for coaches and consultants, they are the front of their business. You know, they're the face of their business. Their brain is their moneymaker. So if their brain is being caught up with all of the other minor stuff in their business, then they can't keep making money. So that's essentially who we work with. Another question that I get asked is, how do you actually build trust with your employees when you guys are all working online? Now, this is one of my favorite questions to answer, and it's really easy. You be loyal with them. You build trust with them. So it's not just them earning your trust, you also have to earn their trust. You have to be consistent. You have to, if you say that you're going to be paying them on a particular day, make sure that you pay them on that particular day. If you're going to promise one outcome, you make sure that you follow through, or you just explain when things don't fall into place, as it happens in life. So if you want to build that loyalty, build that trust with the people that you work with, you have to show that in the same way with them. The next question that I usually get is, how do you pay for your employees? We just basically just have a corporate bank account. Again, we're a Philippine corporation, so it's easy for us to set up, and we pay twice a month as mandated by the Philippine labor law. Next is, where do you actually find your clients now? Now that we haven't been doing the conferences, where do we find our clients? Well, actually, mostly it's been referrals. It's been an amazing wave of people who have found our service, loved it, and they keep just referring their friends into it. That's kind of been the fun thing that's been happening. We do give like a commission every time someone successfully refers someone to us. So that's another win for our clients. So we just basically made sure that our culture was awesome enough that people really wanted to talk about us to other people. Another question that I get asked is, where do you find the employees? Where do you post? Where do you put up your job ad? And it's basically a lot of main places. One is we do post on like the local job sites here that you can't get if you don't have a Philippine corporation. So my Nemo, JobStreet, a lot of other ones. And we also post on onlinejobs.ph still, even though they have to be locally here in Cebu. We still put it up on onlinejobs.ph because it is a work from home job. We also post on like LinkedIn or Facebook. So if you guys want to be kept up to date of if we're hiring or not, just either follow our Facebook page or our LinkedIn page, and you guys will be able to see whenever we have a new position available. Another common question that I get is, how do you know if a applicant is a fit with the client or if they're not a fit? And there's a lot of factors that I look at. The main one is just their personality or their attitude attitude towards the client's business. Now, I try to match client's business with what is the interest of the applicant. Now, what that means is, for example, let's say I have a client whose business is they're a business consultant, then I'm going to hire someone who is already interested in business, who is curious about what happens when you are a business owner, because it's going to be easier for the assistant to be interested in what the client does, and for the client to be able to give the assistant also a little bit of mentorship because they are the expert in their field. So I try to mesh those together. That's the biggest one. And of course, their personalities. If the client really needs someone who is detail oriented, then I find that person. It's really all about finding that chemistry click with the client and the assistant, so then I know that they can work together in the long run. And a really common question that I get is, do you hire people, or have you hired people who have no experience at all? Short answer, yes. Longer answer is usually, if even though they don't have experience, in college they did a lot of really cool things that applies as a skill as an assistant. So for example, if they ran for like student council before, or they were really active in their clubs, or they did some volunteer work, that already shows me that they can apply the same thing when they actually work. Now, another thing to note about having no experience is 80% of our assistants don't actually have any prior virtual assistant or executive assistant experience before, and that's really common. Again, what I really look out for are people who have a really good attitude, who match the skill that we need, the primary skill that we need, and someone who is willing to be coached and trained. If you have those, it's going to be a little bit easier for you to get into the company. The only barrier probably is just how well you get along with the client. Now, if you guys liked this whole kind of just Q&A type of vibe, let me know any more questions that you guys have below, and I'd be more than happy to answer those questions in the future. And if you guys like this video, make sure to hit the thumbs up button right there. If you still haven't, make sure to hit the subscribe button right there so you don't miss any of my videos every Sunday on how to work from home, and every Thursday on how to have an online business. And you guys can check out the latest video right here. And I hope you guys have an awesome day. Remember that small steps matters, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!